When you have the opportunity to put someone in this world, find out that educating is to code of love. A love that speaks, of a love that forbids, of a love that imposes limits, but also of a love that allows, that embraces, that puts to cry when our pains are greater than us. Because over time, as we lose the people who take care of us, you feel how hard it is to be alone in the world. And that mother who kept pissing you on, calling, asking where you are, where you were, who you were going. One day, when this phone no longer ring, you will miss you. Oh, I would come back just to have the right to find her again. When he had that disaster there in Santa Maria, Rio Grande do Sul, one of the people who rescued, after the nightclub caught fire and the club floor was full of young people like you, who died asphyxiated, one of those firefighters, in tears, said that in the middle of that bunch of dead people, the cell phones played insistently, and some who were thrown on the floor, they only saw the name Mother. Those cell phones spawned on the floor, next to those dead boys and girls. Across the line, there was a mother calling. That phone call can never be answered. Never. Life is an interval between the day to arrive and the day to leave. What is making our lives work is the choices we make. If they are aligned with what God wants from us, it cannot go wrong. Will there be suffering? Yes. But it is that suffering that you spend knowing that it is worth it. It is the suffering that redeems us. It is that beautiful freedom that God gives us, and that you are gradually awakening. That you are becoming who you are, who God created in us. God did not make a mistake in me. God did not miss you. Conversion is not to turn into another person. No, it is us to become who God has done in us. Or God would be imperfect if he created a creature that needed change. No, he needs us to come to what he has created from us. And to that we call holiness. And for that you need to love yourself. You need to have respect for you. And you cannot measure your value with the ruler of those who have no respect for you. When you no longer accept the other's emotional trash, when you say, oops, you will no longer judge your emotional waste, because I am not a garbage chest. I am not a vacant lot. I am a richly territory purchased by God, sealed as an absolute value that cannot be negotiated. The most effective way God has to protect us is when we love each other, when you have respect for you, and when you confess your sin, and in that brief moment you forgot your value. Because usually sin humiliates us and makes us think that we are just that. The big problem with sin is to look at him and we reduce himself to him. No, you are not a sin. You are just a person who sins. And when you ask for forgiveness and the priest absorbs you, behind the way we say that we absorb your sin, we are also suggesting as if we could say in your ear, get back to love. Have again respect for you. If you have someone in your life who is undoing the value you have as a person, reconsider this relationship. Reposition the roles. Because the greatest grace we can have in life, my people, is when we discover the value we have and we go on to life, claiming the right to be respected in the value we have and we. For you to remember the value you have, how precious. Evangelize, my people. To evangelize is to restore self-esteem. That you touch the heart of the other so that it forgives yourself. And forgiving yourself, feel forgiven by God. How many people in my life as a priest I absorbed her sins, but it was no use because she doesn't forgive herself. We only feel God's forgiveness in our lives when we learn to deal with our weaknesses and manage them with respect, with love. You will only have this understanding the day you learn to deal with you. And then you will not negotiate what you have of the most sacred. That is your heart, your conscience, your body. If you have to enter your life, That is through the front door, removing the sandals from the feet, because the territory it's holy, it's holy. And I'm not inventing it, no, for Jesus. Wow. But we also cannot forget the spiritual needs either, right? It is the human miseries. They are the people who are suffering from the lack of personal harmony. Here, before we finish the first block, we spoke of the need we have to live this daily reconciliation. Yes, to exercise mercy is to help those close to us also to live this reconciliation. Psychology teaches us that the unconscious, although not accessible to me, I have unconscious realities that were recorded inside me, in my head, in my brain, in my emotions. But from time to time, I identify something from my behavior that I do not know about the cause, and is there in my unconscious. The unconscious sends its messages. Someone one day helped build our unconscious, so that many fears today, we need to understand them in the light of the past. This is why therapy, good therapy, is one that makes us access unconscious realities. And let's throw light on this unconscious and we fix it today what was spoiled there in the past. This is how we become people with mistakes and hits on. These are realities that are favorable to us and others that are not so favorable. Because we all have a philosophical soul, but sometimes we spend our entire lives without arousing that philosophical soul. It's interesting, guys. I like philosophy and lived for a long time. Today, I have dedicated myself much less. But I read a lot of philosophy. This is the practical philosophy that you identify the questions of every day, the most fundamental, the deepest, and you ask yourself these questions, and it is not even about answering them, but of living with them. Then I find people all the time who are reconciling with the figure of God, the Father. Rationalize this. The human experience I have cannot determine me. It can even represent an obstacle. This is natural. By the way, no one promised us that it would be easy. But faith is a gift that is in me, which is in you. And it is so interesting to think, my people, that the gift is given to us in the same way. Because sometimes we are unjust with God. We look at the neighbor who has a beautiful, admirable religious experience that repercussions on his character. Because the good religious is not the one who quantifies the so much times that he goes to church. No, it is the one whose times he went to the church caused transformation in his way to be. And sometimes we look at the one who seems to be a little more religious than us, those who are apparently more faithful than us. And we are in temptation to think that God gave him more faith than us. No, the same faith that is in the Pope's heart was given to his heart as well. What differentiates us, often in this experience, it is how much we cultivate what we receive. Everything was given to him. The bandit who is there in the penitentiary now, who has killed 16, 20, 30 people, he is still sublime. But he is settled in the chaff of the world. Someone needs to remember that he is sublime, because when I assume the condition of being sublime, I begin to illuminate the other, so that he can see the same miracle in him. Where you have a person with the possession of your sublime dimension, there it becomes an instrument of transformation for others. You can see, it is natural in us that we offer to the other what has done us well. It is natural in the human, however selfish he is. We are selfish when, materially speaking, we are afraid of losing. But when it is a good, we listen to that preaching, listen to that song. Why? Because I think it will happen in you the same thing that happened in me when I heard. Or if it is not the same, it will be something similar. You will remember that it is sublime. Reading a book can light up in us the awareness that we are sublime. It may be that no one is seeing, but your gesture makes a difference and reverberates in what?